live. Now to check Twitch itself. Skexy is streaming. Oh no, this is gonna be one of those like terrible net. Okay, nope, that's a scene out of. Oh, what is that movie? What's the Star Wars parody movie? Your Schwartz is bigger than mine. Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
God,
Spaceballs.
That took me a hot minute. Would one of you mind going into the Twitch settings or Twitch and seeing if I'm actually broadcasting successfully, or if you can hear me? I'm trying to remember what I did last time to fix that.
I did not get the notification that Skeksis is live. I get a notification whenever.
Oh, I mean, according to I went to the Twitch site and
you are?
It looks like it's streaming. Yeah, because I started watching it like do the nesting thing.
Let's see.
But can somebody verify that it's actually going?
It's going now. Oh, yeah, looks like it is.
Can you hear me in it is the better question.
I have to wait for an ad.
Oh, yeah, that's annoying. No, that should still work.
Panera.
What's up?
It was an ad for Panera.
Oh.
Yep.
You can hear me?
I hear you. Yep.
Fantastic. All right, we've been live for 1 minute and 40 seconds, and we're actually going to get started. So.
You are very quiet.
Okay.
Oh, I got the alert.
I wonder if I can. I guess I can turn myself a little. All right. It's okay if I'm a little quiet. I can. Well, I don't want to project too much because my kids are sleeping. But all right.
That's fine. Good.
Okay. Hello, guys, gals, and mod. But hold on. All right. And for Jim's efforts, we're going to like cut and. Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to another episode of Mike's Mystical Magical Murder Mysteries. I'm sure I did that in the right order. With us again are Jeff, aka Herlock Sholmes, our halfling wizard, and Watson, Zach, our half-orc cleric.
Yeah, me, Watson.
We're turning this into a thing with whenever it's one shots and I'm running it and these two guys are hanging out, we're going to be doing a thing. So, I don't have any continuity so far, so I'm not going to go over what happened last time. You can go and find that video if you so choose. However, this particular adventure starts with our two compatriots in their home office. Because I'm assuming they have an office that they work out of together because they're Herlock, Sholmes, and Watson. In a local, they're in their office in, let's say, a local big city. We could say something along the Swords Coast if we want to be, that consistent. When a letter gets delivered to you by one of your, I'm assuming you two would have some sort of like. Actually, here's an idea. Why don't you two describe what your office would actually look like? How do you imagine your office in a fantasy setting?
I imagine Watson's desk would be piled high with papers and, like, the space cleared just in front of him. And he has to stand up to look over them to see Herlock's desk.
Considering you're a half-orc, that's a pretty tall pile of papers.
Oh, that's a good point. Alright, so stand up from seated.
There you go.
Herlock has most of the space in his office taken up not by a desk, but by the most comfortable-looking halfling-size easy chair and ottoman combo that you can imagine. The latest and greatest in reclining technology in a high fantasy setting.
Fantastic.
There's a nightstand or arm table next to it that has some pipe tobacco and then a small gun rack of different pipes to be used at a moment's notice, a fidget cube, and like 2 or 3 papers, but it's mostly just doodles and scribbles, nothing anywhere near as voluminous as Watson's desk. That's his department, as Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
Sherlock Holmes always says.
Yes. Very
Sherlock,
good.
you must do the paperwork. The paperwork.
Oh,
I'll get to it. I must insist that you remain the specialized one at such bureaucracy.
Oh yeah, but it's so much. I'm not very good at this accent. I'm gonna work it out.
That's all
But
good.
it's kind of like shifting between Dutch and German.
You were raised by both. It's fine.
There we go.
All right. So, yes, a courier, or you hear a rapping at your office door.
Are you
Hello?
going to get that?
Are,
Are you going to get that?
are any of the masters in?
I sigh
Yes,
and get
yes.
up and walk over, past Herlock's desk to easy
Lock.
chair to open the
Lock
door.
A very proper-looking, very well-dressed, fluffy, with furls, kind of dressed gnome greets you and just sort of like hands you a letter that's got like a looks like an official wax seal on it and hands it to you.
Oh, thank you. I guess this is a job.
He bows
There you
politely
go.
and takes off down the road.
Herlock. Herlock. We have
What?
something
What
to
is
do.
it?
We have something to do.
Finally, rent's coming up.
Do you recognize this seal? And I examine the seal and show it to Herlock.
Herlock recognizes it as the seal of the mayor of the town of Ravenhaven, which both of you know, is a town that's about a day's journey away. That's mostly populated by Arakokras, aka Dungeons and Dragons
Bird people.
bird people. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the mayor's seal, or it's the mayor's seal.
The mayor of Ravenhaven, which is populated by Akrakoka.
Correct.
Did I say that right? Akrakoka?
Arakokra? That's what I wrote down. I looked this up right before, and I'm like, how the heck do you say Arakokra? If you just want to say bird people, it's easy too.
Arakokra.
Mike, just in terms of note taking,
Yes.
continuity between games or totally separate?
So far totally separate.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't have to worry about your notes from last time.
All right.
I will let you know just from a Dungeons and Dragons perspective if you need to keep track of those. If you want to save them for
Right.
later, they may come up again later. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, well then I'll undelete those.
You may want to save them, put them off to the side. We'll see.
Okay.
If I turn this into a regular recurring thing, I'll eventually probably turn this into like recurring themes. But anyway, so yes, the letter.
Well, open it up, read it before someone gets their feathers ruffled.
Fine. I will open it. So I break the seal and read it.
What did you guys call yourselves? Half and Half Incorporated? Right?
I don't remember.
I think that was the name of what you. I think that's
That
the
was
name
pretty
that you do. So
Two halves make it right.
two halves make a right. So the letter is like very like informal, like almost like cursive script. To the gentleman of two halves make a right, or whatever you decide to call yourselves overall.
Make it right.
Oh, two halves make it right. I am imploring your expert services with the help of the murder of our most dear local celebrity, Polly Parton. I'm afraid that there has been a murder most foul among our community, and we are very desperately looking for as much assistance as we can. Your services would be most appreciated for the sum of 150 gold. Please, if you could, as soon as possible, meet me at the Crow's Nest Tavern. Signed, Deputy Mayor Duckbill Gates.
Boy, you sure did give us a few windows into what's going on.
Boy, oh boy.
And the two of you would have heard through reputations that Polly Parton is in fact was essentially like a famous bard who had traveled the world, but you knew that she had recently retired back to her hometown, and is also basically known as being both a world famous bard and as well as a very giving philanthropist. But yes, that is, yeah, that's all that's in the letter.
Oh, yeah. It's 150 gold. We can do this. We can do this.
I'll tell you what. Our fee's becoming too predictable. It's time to raise it.
Yeah. We can negotiate when we get there.
Well, it's not a negotiation. We'll simply inform them that they have been uninformed as to the rate increase. So another 50 gold deposited, and we'll be happy to accept the contract.
Oh, yeah. We can take the trip, and if we don't like it and they don't like the fee, then we spend the weekend in Ravenhaven.
Very good. Well, I suppose we should get our traveling packs in order.
We do such.
Very good. All right. Unless there's anything specific you'd like to do at home or particular things you want to get prepared, you can consider yourselves fully rested and all that stuff for your purposes of your character sheets. And we will fast forward the travel time here. So, you find yourselves, after about a day's travel, arriving. I'm going to say that you wanted to make post haste because you were in somewhat of a hurry. So I'm going to say you rented a very nice coach, slept through the night, and arriving at Ravenhaven in the morning. It's almost like it's a pretty decent sized establishment. I wouldn't say it's not like a small farming town. It does have like a small sort of bustling city center. But the thing that you notice, and there's so it's a pretty decent sized town with a good sized tree in the middle of it. And your coach driver points to you the fact that the Raven's Nest is in fact the tree in the middle. But they drop you off at the edge of town, and one of the things that you sort of notice almost immediately is that the town seems quite empty. Like there's not like you'd expect like by this time in the morning for there to be like the hustle bustle of people moving around, but it's like you see like maybe like one person moving, like one of these Arakokra is moving through the town, but otherwise it seems surprisingly quiet for the size of the place you're in.
You said the tavern that we're going to go to is in the middle of town in that tree?
Yes.
Roger.
We're gonna have to get to the root cause of why this thoroughfare is so empty.
Yeah, there's not many people here. I suppose if there's nobody to talk to, we should go find our contact. This Duke Bill Gates?
Yes. Yes, indeed. The keeper.
So, as you make it...
And...
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Assuming you make it, you're walking into town
Mm-hmm.
toward the Crow's Nest. Okay, or sorry, yeah, the Crow's Nest. So the it appears to be what you would normally imagine as a tavern, but literally like up, sort of in the middle of a tree trunk. Like you see like actually built out walls, but it's clearly like up 2 stories before you actually get in. But there is a door in the trunk of the tree with an eye level. Well, a human eye level, a little lower for the halfling, a little lower for the half orc, a little higher for the halfling, but there is a little step stool there, with a peep window, an eye level sliding peep window, like in the door itself.
I'll go up and knock.
Watson, this is your department.
Yep. I will go up and knock. Oh, hello. Anybody there?
After about a moment, the eye peep door slides open. You see what looks like a hawk eye, like staring out at you. It's like 6 times 7.
Are you serious?
What? What do you mean 6 times 7?
Did we come here to play about on Abakai or to see the mayor?
But are they quizzing us? What is this?
He continues. The eyes continue to stare at the orc. 6 times 7.
But
Maybe he doesn't know, Watson. So maybe it's our job to inform him. Maybe they don't know the answer. Okay.
The answer is what is
You ready for it? It is 40
the universe
and 2.
and everything.
The eye slit shuts. And instead of the door opening before you, you hear a noise above you, and just as Watson raises his head, a rope ladder smacks you in the face. As it comes down to what appears to be another like entrance above you that actually goes up to the entrance way, or at least goes up to the what looks like a platform up to the actual door of the tavern.
The orc side of me begins to then the half side of me says, "Okay, that wasn't very nice."
Well, you first, big fella.
Many years in anger management. Okay. The climbing now. Okay, and I climb up the ladder.
Okay. You're basically left with like what looks like a small little porch section of the bar. You've got a pretty decent sized like double door entrance, and like there's like 2 tables that each have like 2 chairs that are sitting outside the front, outside some windows. You can kind of see inside. It looks like there's a couple people indoors. There's actually a surprise. There is a good amount of like activity going on through the windows that you can see, but there's plenty of space for you to walk around before you actually go inside. So, and I should describe. I should make this clear too. As you were coming into town, you had to like it was sort of like outside the city. You were in open plains for a bit, but then like as you were waking up, you realized the path itself actually goes through a pretty dense forest. So the center of this town is sort of in a local, pretty large forested area. So like as you're on top of this shelf, you can kind of see like sort of over the roofs of a bunch of the houses around, but it's forests pretty far in all directions from where the town is.
Is the town kind of cleared out around the tree, or is it like built into the forest?
No. It's cleared out around.
Got it.
But yeah, no. And probably I don't know, a good like 50 feet in before of the edge, like outside around the town. I mean, it looks like there's a couple of houses that are like nestled in the woods themselves. But for the most part, it's it's the town itself is cleared out. Yes. All right. So Watson's at the top of the ladder.
I'm in the bathroom.
Okay. Both of you are standing outside. It sounds like there's actually like music coming out from the bar and the tavern now that you're up the level. Now that you're up on the 2nd floor. Or the tavern.
So there are people here.
Yes.
They may be inside, but there are people here. I thought it was a little weird, but there was nobody.
Didn't notice that down below. Is it somber music, or what kind of music is it?
Seems kind of lively, actually.
This seems like a fun place. And I walk in the door.
The music greets you. What you see in front of you is... Oh, dang it, I just lost my place. Sorry. Patrons are greeted by a rustic bar-themed frame photographs of past barkeeps, all are Kokoras. Basically, like line the walls behind the bar. All the furniture is made of wood. There is what looks like a bard on a stage singing off to the left, and there's a big sign out. There's like he's got like a big like wooden like signpost sitting in front that says Weird Owl Yankovic. Playing, you think, a parody of some sort of a song you're not sure of, but you're not quite certain. And there are a few patrons. There's about, you see like 6 or 7 patrons scattered about, and then there is a dark monochromed feathered Aarakocra with piercing hazel eyes and wearing an apron behind the bar.
Who would have thought?
Lady
An owl playing a parody.
Shocking.
What do you think, Watson? Where should we start on this one?
The bartender would be the best place to start. So I will approach the bartender and say, "Hello, I'm Watson. We've been summoned here. We have to meet with Mr. Bill Gates."
Oh my! You're here for the deputy mayor.
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, I'm afraid you're a little too late for that, my good sir. He's been murdered.
Oh, surprising! 2 murders here?
I'm afraid that is in fact the case, good sir. I'm
And
sorry. May I ask you a particular? So you've got her at the bar. So just to give you a scene, so you got her standing at the bar. There is another Aarakocra down the way, down basically on the bar. It's like 4 seats to the right of you. Who has jet black feathers and a handful of like yellow feathers around his chest, with an athletic build. Let's see. Yep, we'll leave that there for now. But just to give you a sense, so yeah, no, I'm afraid you've picked a really bad time to come visit town, my friends. I'm Vel, by the way.
What is that?
Vel the Crow.
Velle?
Vel. Vel the Crow.
Vel.
So what do you think, Phil? You think you suspect foul play?
I mean, quite certainly, I can't help but think that one of the most famous people in our town, as well as the deputy mayor. I mean, it's quite the kerfuffle. Unfortunately, let's see. I take it you two are here. I mean, is there a particular reason you find yourselves in town? I don't want to bore you with our such terrible plight.
Yeah, this
I think my internet just glitched.
She was asking why you're here, since she doesn't want to bore you if you were coming to town to visit. It's a terrible timing, so just curious why you're here.
Perfect. So I'm gonna look at Watson. I forget who's holding. I'm assuming he's holding the letter.
We'll assume he's holding the letter.
I look at him, give him the nod.
Then I break out the letter and say, "We have been summoned here."
Do you hand it to her, or are you just showing it?
Just showing it.
Okay. She kind of takes a gander. Oh. Well. My good. That is in fact Duck Bill Gates' signature. Look at that. Well. I have to say.
As this is happening, I'm looking around the room. Is anyone paying any more attention to us now than they were before?
No. Almost everybody else seems to be enthralled by Weird Owl Yankovic and you do, now that you're looking, you do think that other the black Aarakocra down the bar maybe eavesdropping, but you're not entirely certain without having to look harder. He does seem to just be kind of like looking into his mug. Let's see. So you two are here to help out with the... Well, I suspect some foul play myself. You have to understand, I tend to see a lot of things back here. People that tend to be a bit inebriated don't know exactly how to talk real quiet, you understand.
Of course.
I have to say the case quackers probably are in over their head with this one. That's our local constables, mind you, in case you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
familiar with our local town.
Not a lot of practice.
No, certainly not with murders of this stature, and two in such a short amount of time. That's kind of why I think most of the town shut down. I think everybody's kind of scared now that we've had two very high-profile people kick the can, if you will. Um,
Kicking the can, that sounds painful.
I'm afraid we don't know. I'm not entirely certain why. Hold on, where's... Ah, okay. Um, yeah, only essential businesses are actually open at the time. Um, I believe the case quackers have two suspects, but um, the best person to probably ask would be um, Egg Ryan. Is our local uh, runs where is it? Runs The Godfather, which is our local daycare. She tends to know a lot of people around town. You may be asking her, as well as maybe the mayor's office may be a good place to look for clues as well, seeing as how, well, it was the deputy that was one of our murder cases, I'm afraid. And of course, going to talk to the Quakers themselves. Not that I think they have much evidence. Yep.
Fair enough.
Is there anything else I can do to help you two gentlemen attend to the business in hand?
Yeah, you could spot us a couple of meals on the mayor's tab. Get this investigation started.
I suppose I could. Um, where? Jay, could you whip up a plate of plate of boiled eggs for these two folk? I can do, ma'am. Takes off into the back, brings you to some. Actually, let's see. What would? I mean, they're hunters. Yeah, no, probably some boiled eggs. So yeah, a plate of boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, and yeah.
It's a mountain high altitude grain.
There you
So.
go.
How did Ben feel about eating the eggs? Just out of curiosity.
Where the eggs
I've
come
heard of
from?
this stuff.
Locally sourced, mind you. We got all kinds of different staples here in our town of Ravenhaven. All right, so you're both served a meal. Yes, on she puts it on the mayor's tab.
Sit there, finish it up, kind of pick my teeth a bit, and then say to Watson, "Well, what do you think? Start with the mayor first?"
Yeah, I think that's the best place to start.
Might as well.
He is the direct superior of the men who asked us to come here.
Oh, gentlemen, before you depart, she leans in again. I don't want to push your investigation one way or the other, but I will say, I have seen on occasion our good mayor Wenoa Flyder and Mayor and Deputy Mayor Duckbill Gates leave this establishment under some, shall we say, after some heated arguments. As to what the nature of those were, I'm afraid I cannot say, for I simply
They
do
got a
not know.
little hot under the feather, huh?
The mayor and the deputy mayor, yes.
So you couldn't say what they were about.
I'm
Did it
afraid I
seem
do.
personal? Did it seem like policy?
Likely policy. The two of them did have a bit of a disagreement on a more recent development. See, you understand before, dear Miss Dolly, and Miss Polly, respective God rest her soul. Like, bah, whatever it was. See, she was in the process of developing a theme park of sorts outside of town called Pollywood. and had already set up a store outside and was in the process. And we had only just recently had a town vote on as to whether or not to clear some of the woods to allow for Polywood to be built. So I would surmise, and the two of them, I believe, had very different opinions about whether or not such a project should be undertaken. So you have to
Is the
discuss with
vote
them.
passed?
Yes, the vote to allow a large portion of the woods to be clear cut for Polyland or Polyworld, whatever it was, did pass. Just like only in the last week.
So the motion passed.
Yep.
Which means she would get to build this place. Probably make a fair bit, charging at the gate, concessions, all that. Who owned the land before? Is there anyone that was upset about this?
Oh, there was a good amount of people in the town who simply did not want to have large cuts of our natural forest turned into some sort of entertainment venue. But I'm afraid no particular people owned it outside the whole town, the town as a whole. No one claimed it as their own property.
Well, could be the leader of this group that was opposed to it if you had to pick one. Maybe someone who was more vocal than the rest.
Oh, gracious. I'm afraid I don't know. If I had to pick a name, I'm not entirely certain I could tell you. Certainly no one that would be doing anything. I can't imagine that would be a reason to get anybody hurt, but...
Out of character, I was so hoping you would say something like Russell Crowe.
Wait. Oh, that would be amazing. Let's see. Oh, actually, at this point, the black-haired one will kind of like move over a chair and be like, and say that, and basically interject himself. How do I want to do this accent? You're forgetting that the mayoral race was coming up there, Vel. Oh, don't mind him. I'm sorry. Gentlemen, excuse me, this is Goose Wayne.
Well done, Mike.
So at this point, Goose brings up the fact that, like, I gotta tell you, gentlemen, I think the mayor herself, good lady as she is, may have been concerned about Deputy Duckbill aiming for her seat as the mayor. Winnow wouldn't be too happy with, let's see, and I know Winnow, the mayor, would not have been too happy with him if he had decided to throw his hat in the ring. She's been on mayor for 2 consecutive state sessions now, you understand.
No term limits, huh?
No, there are not. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, would you call yourself Mr. Wayne? Say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Get anyone else that might have an opinion on something like that?
Someone else. Well, I mean, as opposed to town gossip, the other thing that would be useful for 2 folks like yourselves. Miss Ponton had also just recently completed divorce proceedings with her wife, Penguin Stefani. Who happens to be the owner of a local potion shop called Bakers and More. So that would be another person that would be interested in, you may be interested in having questions for.
We just had a nice meal. Might not be a bad idea to go scrounge up some dessert. Hey, Watson?
Yeah, that sounds really nice. I could go for some dessert. What place did Penguin Stefani own?
The Bakers and More. To which, at this point, the bartender Vel speaks up, like, "Oh, that's been a fantastic establishment. That's been one of our staple establishments here in Ravenshaven for such a long time. I want to say about 30 years now."
I'm here. I'm just stepping away for a moment.
Oh, it's all good. Um, I'm not sure that it's open, however. I don't know that. I imagine Penguin might be very, very distraught over the loss of. I know that. Well, I don't know what kind of terms they split on, honestly. They had two opposing lawyers, you understand, working through their divorce proceedings.
As one would expect.
Hmm.
I'm sure they sell a lot of faux-based pastries over at such an establishment.
Less about pastries and more about potions, vials, that sort of soaps, more of a apothecary, if you will.
Alchemical spirits and such.
Yes, that would be a better way to put it. With that, Weird Al Yankovic has ended his set with lots of clapping and people throwing coins and a little hat of his, or in his guitar case / accordion case.
Accordion.
Yeah, his accordion case.
I say, I kind of turn my head to that side and go, "Thanks, Weird Al. That was a hoot."
Why can't I hoot right now? All right, anyway, you get the idea. Voice failed me for a second there.
Could have been an owl, could have been in the Pillsbury
Yeah,
Doughboy.
right, that was terrible. me attempting to be a bird. One of many birds. Okay, so yes, you are well fed. The music has ended, and Vel seems to be out of. Actually, at this point, she actually goes to like pick up all the drinks and the rounds of the folks that are now that the morning's entertainment is over. And Goose Wayne seems to be back just kind of staring at his drink.
I toss a coin up for Goose Wayne's drink right there and say, "Next round's on me." And yeah. Well, Watson, I suppose we should go check out some more of this town.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. And I would say that we start to walk towards the door.
Okay.
Trying to beat the crowd out.
They're milling a bit. Some of them are conversing, talking. Nobody seems to be in a significant hurry to get out the door. So you're able to get out just fine. It's not like you're fighting people to get out.
Step outside, take a look around, and we see any obvious signage for this potion shop, or?
You do, yeah. You see what looks like basically like you see like between some roofs off to the southwest. You do see what looks like a sign of a giant, what looks like just like a giant painted green bottle, that seems to stick out with a different color than the rest of the architecture of the town.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh, that's got to be it right there. Looks like a beaker if I've ever seen one.
So I take it you're heading that way, or are you gonna head anywhere else first?
No,
Okay.
to the green beaker.
Got it. Outside of so as you make your way over there, like I said, the town's again surprisingly quiet for what clearly is supposed to be a more bustling town. You see almost nobody as you walk basically a good like 5 minutes over to what is clearly like a well-trafficked place, like just from like the foot traffic and like we can see from the footsteps or the sort of the dirt path in front of you. But outside of the sign, it looks like the outside of the building itself actually doesn't look any more spectacular or fascinating.
Sherlock, please. why are we going here? Perhaps we should go see the mayor prior to talking to her ex-wife.
Yes, old habits die hard. Been a while since I popped up on, what's the word? I had a word for opium because Sherlock Holmes is an opium user, but not just smoking it. Laudanum, right? Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah.
It's been a while since I topped up on some tincture. Okay, yeah, you're right. To the mayor's office.
Gotcha.
But then we come back here.
Okay. Give me a minute. Jumping around a bit. Okay. Okay, how are you figuring out how to get there?
Are there any larger or more ornate buildings than the rest?
Nothing that jumps out at you, really.
So if we step outside and nothing jumps out, like on like the potion shop,
Yep.
we'll duck back in to Vel and say, "Hey, Vel, how do we get to the mayor's house?"
Oh, you want to? I don't know if she's going to be home at the moment, but or if she's going to be in her office for now. I mean, like I said, most places are closed because of the folks are scared about the 2 murders, or at least the 2 deaths we've had now. It's a very quaint, surprisingly. It's not like your traditional mayor's house. It's actually some other small, sort of a small home. Basically, it stands by itself slightly different. It has a small garden and a walkway that leads up to it, but it's on the north side of town. So if you were headed, and she sort of points in the general direction, so it gives you sort of directions. Is there anywhere else you want me to describe to you, or should I just give you a general layout while you're here?
Might as well give us the lay of the land.
Well,
all right, so you've got. So the Crow's Nest, you're in the middle of the center of town. The Godfather's like 5 minutes off to your west. You've already been to Beakers and Moore. Legal Eagle is the law firm store, or like the lawyers. No, it's the law firm, Legal Eagle. In the event that you actually find yourselves in need of some medical assistance, there's the Tweetment Center that you likely passed on your way in. The Case Quackers actually have their office slightly outside of town, in the direction, basically south of town. And she kind of eyes Watson up briefly, and she goes, "And if you're kind of at a dead end, I did hear that the Stud Puffin is in fact still open." So those are, as far as I know, those are the establishments that are still open as of now. But yeah, no, the mayor's office is off to the north if you want to go there.
So there's some little display stand of like all those brochures when you go into the municipal office of any town you're visiting or something.
That's a good point, actually. That would be a good like here's your touristy town map. Should have thrown something together, but in the meantime, that's all right. So yeah, off to the mayor's office then.
Flocking to the mayor's office.
Say again, sorry.
Flocking to the mayor's office.
Got it. Okay. So as she described, there's like it's I mean, all of the towns, all the houses sort of seem to be somewhat close together, but this one has its own like sort of larger lawn space that is like a gentle fence, but the gates are open, with a small garden in front of it with a pretty decent, just a winding walkway that walks up to what looks like a rather, certainly by mayor standards, a rather humble dwelling. But as you get up to the door, there doesn't seem to be any light inside. Although there is a large knocker.
I assume that it's still a couple feet above me.
You would have to reach, yes.
Or I could just mage hand it. You know, I'm gonna mage hand it.
There you go.
Thunk, thunk, thunk. No response.
Still morning, late morning, early afternoon.
It's still mid-morning. Yeah.
Mid morning. Well, you think they'd be open for business? Knock again.
You are greeted with silence.
Well, you know, Watson, we've never shied away from picking a couple locks. What do you say?
I don't know if either of your characters actually can pick locks, but you can certainly try.
That might be a bit of a step at this point. Yeah, we haven't even agreed to take this date yet. Nobody has agreed to pay us at this point.
I was gonna say the person who hired you is apparently one of the dead people, so
You should just go home.
or at least the sign of the letter.
I think we've been had. This is bad business.
This is not a good bit. Yeah. I suppose this place
I'm gonna peep in the window.
To your left or to your right?
Left.
You can you can see through the window. There's a pretty decently sized desk with a chair and a bookcase. Yeah, it just looks like. I mean, it just kind of looks like a very simple office.
Hey, point of order here.
Yes.
Can Mage Hand be cast through glass? On the other side of glass?
You know,
Doesn't say that it can't.
I don't see why not. I mean,
Because, well,
here,
you have to pick a lock if you could just Mage Hand and...
link it for me? Oh, that's an interesting question. Visual somatic appears at a point within reach. The hand lasts for duration. The hand vanishes if it's ever more than 30 feet away. Actually control the hand. You can use the hand to manipulate an object.
It says open an unlock door or container.
Well, I
Can
mean,
you unlock a door with it?
depends on the kind of. Well, I mean, if it was like a deadbolt, I don't see why you couldn't do that.
Well, obviously, if you didn't have the key, that's one thing. But like, if it's like barred from the inside, you just and the bar is
I
less
don't
than
see why
5
you.
pounds.
I mean, if you could like try to manipulate where it is, yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do that.
But in any case, we can perhaps go talk to Penguin Stefani then. Maybe she knows where the mayor is. What?
Watson's brilliant idea. So, you know what? I'm surprised I never thought of that. No, I'll snap my fingers and create Mage Hand to try to open the door from the inside.
The door appears to be locked, even from the inside. There is a key. It is like a keyhole door.
Ah. Well, what do you think? The mayor's house is a dead end. I mean, I can always just levitate myself down the chimney.
We can do this. I'll look in the right window. Whichever other window that he didn't look in.
There's a separate desk with a nice rug. There you don't see a bookcase specifically, but otherwise it also just looks like a rather simple office space.
These government buildings. What do you think? Perhaps we should go talk to someone else?
I'm gonna walk around the whole house, see if there's any other obvious entrances, windows, anything.
I mean, you've got windows. I mean, you're on the south side of it, looking into those windows. I mean, you go around. There's windows on the north side too, but again, it's a rather small. It's a rather small building for what it is. It doesn't look like they actually. Yeah, it's just an office. It's not. It doesn't. This clearly isn't a house. So, yeah. I'm afraid outside of the windows that you can see the same thing you were able to see in before.
Is there a chimney or anything like that?
There is a chimney. Yes, there is a small, what looks like, where the door is on the south side, there's what looks like a small fireplace with a chimney on the north side.
I don't know. Watson. I don't know if I feel like dropping myself down that chimney right now. Maybe we need to ask around a bit more. I mean, whatever got the mayor's deputy, anyone, still be in there. How about the potion shop? Yeah.
Yeah. If you go back there and try there, that's the closest thing they have to a lead at this point.
All right. So I'll look around and start heading back to the potion shop.
Okay. You don't see anybody. Again, there's nobody walking around, so it seems like if anybody would have been watching you, you don't notice. No one seems to be like paying any attention to the fact that you two have been walking around the mayor's house, or the mayor's office, I should say. Okay, so you're back at Beakers and More. You're standing outside. There are 2 windows out front, 1 window on the side. The door is sort of like in the front corner, if you will, on the same wall as the 2 windows. But it does look like the building itself goes back somewhat far. But otherwise, yeah, it looks outside of the beaker on the sign. It looks like a very normal sort of shop front.
Open.
You see no lights inside, and there doesn't seem to be any activity.
For 2 right now, Watson.
And there does look like there's little hooks that maybe like where a sign hangs off the bottom, that you say like maybe like an open sign would hang from. You're not sure, but there's nothing there now.
This time, I'm gonna very forcefully knock on the door.
You knock loudly. Let's see.
I forget what time. What time is it again?
Late morning.
Yeah, it's late morning at this point.
This
door, I will say that the door you're knocking on has a deadbolt, appears to have a deadbolt and a knob lock. As you're pounding on the door, you notice this one just happens to have 2 locks on it. Let's see. Yep.
A deadbolt and a what lock?
Like a knob lock. So like there's a deadbolt key and then like a key that looks like it actually goes to the knob itself. So yeah.
Yeah. They seem to have pretty good security around these parts.
But yeah, no one seems to answer the door when you're knocking. Like there's no activity inside.
I look at bots and I say, strange, isn't it? There's no hustle, no bustle in this town.
Nothing going on there. Somebody better have that gold to pay us.
Yeah. That carriage wasn't cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what else do we got on our list so far? The mayor's house is a dud. Potion shop, a dud. Maybe we need to go take a look at the area that was in question. You know.
Do we know where the murder occurred? Do we know that? I don't know if we know that.
I don't think we asked.
Do we know that? I don't know where it occurred. Did we head back to the crow's nest?
I think we should. We got no other clues to go on so far.
So you've been told about there is. Val did suggest that you would talk to Egg Ryan at the daycare.
That's right, Egg Ryan.
As well as there is. I mean, other establishments include the daycare where she's at, the Godfather. There's the local police, the Case Quackers, is an option. And the other places that she pointed out were the Legal Eagle, which is the lawyer's office, Tweedman Center and the Stadtpuffen.
I do have found it. They did mention Egg Ryan. Perhaps we go to Egg Ryan. Egg Ryan. Egg Ryan.
Sounds like a friendly lady.
Or if we go to the police. The police maybe able to help us a bit.
Sherlock Sholmes doesn't rely on the coppers. The coppers rely on Sherlock Sholmes.
Yes, I know you don't like them. But they may have done some preliminary research that we can benefit from.
Perhaps. Why don't we flip a coin? Heads is egg. Tails, we go to the case quackers. So we'll say 1 and a 2 is Egg Ryan, and a 3 and a 4 is Case Quackers.
Oh.
Ah.
Well, we go to the police.
Who knew that in the bird town it would come up tails?
Okay. Let's see.
You can start heading that way.
Okay. Like I said, this office is a little bit outside town, but you have been given directions, so you know how to get there. Okay. So you find yourself slightly outside of town in front of a small lumber building that does have the words Case Quackers in giant yellow letters out front. And there does seem to be activity inside.
This place seems to be a bit more lively than the rest.
Yes. Maybe we'll start here.
What was that?
Maybe we'll get our start here.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I will go into the front door. I do so.
You're greeted so the interior, as soon as you walk in, could definitely use a designer's touch. There's outdated rugs that line the floor. The walls are coated with an unattractive yellow. Yeah, it just seems very drab. But there is what looks like a clerk wearing a blue uniform of sorts, basically sitting at a desk, and there's you're in a small waiting room space, and there is 2 doors behind them that seem to lead further in.
Is there a bell to be rung on the desk?
Yes.
Mage hand the bell.
The clerk sort of startled, what? Hello? How? What? Kind of picks up the looks at the 2 of you at the door, picks up the bell, puts it back down, confused, can I help you?
Yes, hello, my name is Watson. This is Herlock, and we are here. We have been summoned here by the late Dr. Bill Gates to investigate the murders. What can you tell us about them?
Kind of like the
Somebody tells me you weren't expecting that.
The chief or captain.
Yes. Very good. Let me speak to somebody higher up here.
So the door behind him comes out, and a larger, sort of more confident-looking bird in a blue uniform with a yellow sash and boots, wearing a red hat with a yellow falcon insignia on it and black sunshades, walks out front, and says, kind of looks at the clerk. What can I do for you two, gentle folk? We're kind of a little busy here in town. Is there something I can help you with?
Yeah, we'd like to know what you know about these murders that happened here. We have been summoned here by DB Gates, and
yeah, you're gonna have to provide some proof of that kind of claim there, good sir.
Here's your proof. Here's your.
Cast mage hand and point to it.
May I have
now,
that?
Do you know?
May I have this, please?
No, this is my letter. You may look at it.
Gentlemen, you're not going to get any cooperation from us unless I can verify the validity of that particular document you have there to make sure that it is, in fact, the reason that you should be in this particular premises at an opportune time that we need to be dealing with the kind of crimes we're dealing with here.
I roll it back up, and I say, it does not leave my sight. And I hand it to him.
And you hand it to him?
I hand it to him with the caveat that it does not leave my sight.
All right then, sir. If you want to come on back with me and my table, I'm going to be doing a bit of research and I got a bit of other business going on here, but I'm afraid it might take a few hours for me to actually make sure to process this properly in such a way to make sure this is actually an official document, especially if it is supposed to be signed by the dearly deceased. You understand how that could be a little suspect, yes? It just seems a little odd that you would show up. So, if you want to sit there, if you want to sit and wait for a while, you are more than welcome to do so, but it's going to take a bit of time.
If you think it's odd, do you think if we had anything to do with it that we would really be so stupid as to return to the scene of the crime to implicate ourselves?
And provide a letter with the murdered person's name on it. That does not make any sense at all.
I just don't know the validity of this document, as I've never interacted with you two people before, and you're claiming to show up and want to try to deal with the murders themselves. Just seems a little bit odd, is all I'm trying to say. By the way, he is wearing a giant name tag on his chest that says Captain Falcon. Just wanted to point that out.
I wonder how long that list is of all your bird points for this episode.
All right, so he waves you into like the back room, and it's literally like, so he's got basically a desk. There's another, I mean, it's just a small little sort of office space with like 2 chairs across from his. So he sits down, puts the document down, starts to pull out like a drawer of files, and just starts like rummaging through it and like pulling it out and comparing it and looking at it again, putting it down, rummaging through, pulling out, comparing it again, putting it down. Then he takes it, starts to do a little bit of, starts like he's like taking notes, sort of looking at it, looking at the two of you, looking at it. And he keeps, at one point he stops, he gets up, there's a little pot of like, there's like a pot of coffee that he like refills, goes back, sits down, takes a sip of it, goes back, seems to look at another document again, looks back. Johnson! Yeah, Captain. Can you pull up those what was it, those tax documents from the deputy mayor so and so? This goes on like he just this goes on for like a good 15 minutes. I don't know what your patience level is. And then like 20 minutes. And like 25 minutes.
You're playing cards. We've done this before. We've sat on stakeouts.
30 minutes.
This does not make any sense whatsoever.
He just keeps like comparing it and contrasting. And then at one point, it gets to the point where it's around like midday, and he's like, all right, gents, I'm not quite confident with the validity of this particular document. And now it's our lunch break. So you can go find food at the Crow's Nest if you want, or you can hang out for a bit. I mean, I'm probably going to be another hour here at least.
Should we hang up in the meantime?
Feel free to head to the Crow's Nest. There's a fantastic establishment in the middle of the town. You can get yourself some local hors d'oeuvres of the sort. I realize that not much else is going on in the town at this point, but yeah, no, I'm going to need at least another hour. If you have any other pressing business in town you want to deal with while I'm taking care of this.
Just might be yeah, we're gonna need that letter back. It is our property after all.
I can make sure to give it. I mean, if you want to stay here to make sure it stays in proper hands, I'm also doing a little bit of. If you could actually, now that I've actually. This form itself seems to be fine, so you know what, this is acceptable. I can hand you back this letter, but I am going to need you to sign these and fill these out, and he sort of puts these two like bureaucratic forms of like first name, last name, place of birth, the last place where you've lived for the last 7 years.
Oh my god.
and like hands you both quills and says like, if you could fill this out for me, because I can make sure I can do background checks appropriately to make sure that the two of you are who you actually claim to say you are.
So let me get this straight. We bring you something that's our property that was received in the post, and you mean to deprive us of our lawful property, and then we have to prove who we are to get it back from you.
Oh, he's handing you the letter. He's handing the letter back to you. But he's saying to further along your cooperation, to like let you help with the investigation, he needs you to fill out these forms so he can confirm who you are.
I am who I say that I am. I just need to prove this thing. So, I like perhaps
This is a first for us. We're pretty famous researchers.
Not around these parts, I'm afraid, gentlemen. Look, I assure you there is nothing ill gained on my part here. I'm just trying to do background checks to make sure that I dot all my I's and cross all my T's and make sure that I have everything in order. You understand, of course. I'm sure if the deputy mayor, God rest his soul, was still around, he would be able to explain to you that this is just the proper procedures to how things are done here with the case quackers to make sure that we're taking care of all the things we need to do to take care of, to make sure everything's all hunky-dory and we make sure everything's good to go.
Yes, of course. I mean, where exactly did this all happen anyway?
I'm afraid that I am not at liberty to answer any more questions about this particular ongoing investigation until I can verify the validity of the fact that who you two say you are.
Watson thing. What? I mean, we're already here, aren't we?
I love how just the act of role playing that you need to fill out bureaucratic paperwork is something that the two of you are just like, no. Just...
Don't worry, and Watson, don't worry. I'll fill out my own paperwork this time.
So what you're saying is if you fill out this paperwork, you will help us, and you will cooperate with us.
I will use the information that you provide into this documentation to make sure that I'm able to go do the proper background checks that I need to make sure that you two actually say you are, and then we will continue. We will happily cooperate with the investigation. Yes.
Snatch the paper away and start filling it out.
Okay.
Same here, furiously. Feverishly.
All right, it takes you a good 10 minutes because like the two of you are like going back and forth like, wait, what's our address? Where was our first office? I don't remember what the tax rate was on the first house I lived at when I lived in 4 years ago. Just like going back and forth with all these like random ridiculous things to verify yourself. You finish filling out the documents. He takes them. Basically puts them both into like a back office or like he goes like there's the front door you came in and there's two other doors in the back. And he's like, all right, I will compare these and verify these, and we should be good to go. If everything's hunky dory, and the two of you are who you say you are, we should be good in about say an hour. And he goes back into the room and what looks like to be some sort of like filing cabinet space, and closes the door behind him. And the two of you are left in his office. The door is opened out to the clerks.
What the hell do we do now?
This is really testing our patience, isn't it, old buddy? Well, I suppose we could always go check out one of the other places. Maybe we go check out Egg Ryan. Kill some time over there.
That is what we should do.
All right.
That is what we should do.
Then we start heading over to Egg Ryan.
Okay. Hold on a second. Where's... where... Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so you make it over to the Godfather. Godfather? Am I getting the... Hold on. Have I been saying the name wrong this whole time? It is the Godfather. Yes. Wait, what? That link didn't work. There we go. All right. So the Godfather tends to look like actually looks like you walk as you're walking toward it. It does that. It looks lively in there. It actually seems to be like painted brightly colored. Um, yeah, it's like as you walk inside, there's clearly a bunch of children running around. Um, it's filled. They're used like as you can see like the shelves are filled with like toys and like little awards that say like best listener and like most likely to take a nap. And there's like a handful of nests built around the ceiling because these like the birds are actually like trying to learn how to fly with like their arms. Like you haven't seen any of the Aarakocras actually like flying around town. The few of them you've seen, but like some of them are actually like trying to fly and like go up into their nests and what have you.
I can still hear you, by the
Swimming
way.
around.
I'll be right back.
Oh, good. There is one other adult who seems to be dropping off a kid. Give me 1 second. I have his description here just to keep things. Let's see. So yeah, you do walk past one, or as you're in there, there's another Aarakocra dropping off. What looks like he's dropping off his kid, who's got buttermilk yellow feathers and light brown eyes with an average build. He's got a shirt on that says "Birds of Flight." Kind of, but looks somewhat athletic for the Aarakocras around here. Sort of just waves to you two as he walks out the door, or he's there dropping off his kid while you're in there, and then the one adult who's very clearly like in her element, or I'm sorry, in his element. Egg Ryan is actually a male, and I'm all over the place with my notes here. Where's Sorry, why do I keep missing this? There we go. In the middle is another adult with grayscale feathers and the occasional pops of purple and glasses that walks with a pep in his step, going around. So is there's sort of like tending to the children as you two walk in. So there's the two adults, the one, like I said, who's dropping off his kid, and then, Miss Egg Ryan. Let's see. So yeah, the kids are running around, sort of jumping, playing, singing, waving around. So it's a bit chaotic in there. But she notices you and kind of walks up to the two of you and goes, "Oh, hi. What brings you two to my establishment? No little ones to drop off, I imagine. I don't know if I have the facilities to handle orc children or halfling children, I'm afraid. But I'm sure we can. But I'm sure we can manage our best if you're interested in, finding a place for little people, your little ones. Such precious little offspring they are."
Do you take this one? And I point to Herlock.
Is he yours?
Sometimes I feel that way.
Very funny. Tell me, how many of your children have feet like this? And I stick out my big hairy halfling feet.
Just goes away, you stinking man.
Can't help it. They're always on my feet.
In any case, it must be Egg Ryan.
Well, yes, you have come to the right place if you're looking for me. I'm afraid I'm not sure what I can do for you beyond just daycare kind of necessities. What is the nature of your visit? Just Alexander. Well, dang it, what is it? I wrote it down. Alexander Graham Bell. You need to be able to calm down over that little boy. It's all going to be fine. Not to worry. Excuse me for a moment. Yes, Mr. Mr. Seagull. Yes, I will happily Jason. You want Jason to stay for the day? Yes, she's talking to the other adult at this point. To which she's like, yes, for normal egg. Like, thank you, Mr. Seagull. And the other adult sort of walks out. His first name's Steven.
Very difficult to work with,
Yes.
I imagine.
Very possibly. And I think his kid's name is Jason Siegel. Yeah, Jason Siegel. So yeah. Anyway.
Oh.
So yeah, she gets so she like manages that real quick and then goes back to like, yes, I'm afraid I'm a little bit preoccupied at the moment, as you can see with all the like just like the sounds of children running around are just rampant. One of them like bumps into you, Watson, as they're just like chasing around. Another one like kind of flies over and like brushes Herlock's hat. Like it's a little bit of it's controlled chaos while she's trying to have this conversation with you. Or he, I keep forgetting eggs. Um, but anyway, yes. So yeah, what brings you here?
Well, yeah, searching for some clues as to the issues that you've seen in town recently, past few days.
Oh, she kind of gets really sad for a second. Um,
What is it? What do you
no,
think?
I just and she kind of like she takes a moment to like collect herself and starts like sniffing and like takes out a takes a like a handkerchief out of a pocket from like an apron that she's wearing, like for their hand is like dripping it like tears coming down her eyes. Like I was so I was very close to Mr. Gates. I'm very sorry that it's just a sad state of affairs. It's just wrong what happened to him. And he's gone.
Yes, it is sad, but
Tell us what happened.
Oh, the case quackers haven't released details yet. From what I've heard, he was found in his office. I can't.
All in the building just up the hill.
Yeah, that's the one. We're very close, you understand. Grew up together. Let's see.
Well, did he have any enemies? Did he have who would want to see a fellow of such standing hurt like that?
Hold on. No. I, I think he would have. So, like, who would have? I don't think he had many enemies. I do know that, in my opinion, he would have made a fantastic mayor. I mean, not that I've got anything against Miss Flyder, but I think Duckbill Gates would have been a wonderful mayor.
And why do you say that?
He was just such a
So
nice
the existing
person.
mayor.
It's so. I do know though. I was friends with Polly too. You understand? Both of their losses just absolutely tragic, especially with the philanthropy that she was doing. I had heard. She did share with me about a week ago that she had been receiving threatening letters at her office, the store that she has outside of where Pollywood is supposed to be built. Her little, with all of her awards and things that she's collected over the years. You understand?
Interesting. So her office, where she would have kept all her official documentation.
Miss Polly, either that or if anyone else, I guess it depends on what you asking for. Alexander, just Jason, come on, stop fighting, you two. It's gonna be fine. And some of the kids can see that she's upset and are like coming over and be like, "What's wrong, Miss Ryan? You're gonna be okay?" Like, I'm fine, children. Just give me a moment. Um, I imagine that.
That's not something that charm person would help with, right?
What, on children?
No, on her.
I mean, you're more than you are willing to try whatever you want there, Mr. Wizard. I imagine if she had any official documentation, either it would be at her office or at her lawyer's office, depending on the divorce and all that. I mean, that was finalized just a couple weeks ago.
It was finalized. Did they have any animosity towards each other?
Oh, Polly and Miss Penguin Stefani? No, I don't believe so. Polly didn't seem to have any ill will toward her. I think the two of them just got very focused on their work, if you will. Polly with trying to build Dollywood, and Penguin just being ever more focused on her potioning business. But I'm
No, it's
afraid.
funny. We went up there to that shop. It's all closed up, middle of the day. Nothing's going on.
Well, that does seem a bit peculiar, but I wouldn't be surprised if most places are down. You have to understand this. I know it seems chaotic to you now, but this is only about half the amount of children I'm used to seeing because most of the businesses are closed right now. But some folks still have to work, so they need daycare for their children.
Of course. Seems you got your feathers full over here.
You could say. Let's see. At this, she seems to be getting pulled, and like the children are now like tugging and pulling in her in different directions. Some of them are trying to offer her like a toy to help her feel better. Other ones are just kind of like, "I hurt my ankle." It's like her attention's getting pulled away from you at this point. She's like, well, I'm afraid I've got to get back to my child rearing duties, but I'm afraid.
Could you point us into the way of Polly's office?
Basically, just go straight out of west of town. You'll find it's a soul building. Let's see. Let's have a description of it. I'm sure I do. It's a small storefront, visible in front of a closed-off forested area. Yep. It's just a simple store standing by itself. You'll probably recognize it by the ropes that have been sort of edging or designated this where the forest was voted to be clear cut.
Thank you for your time, Miss Ryan, and you see to those younglings.
Oh, I shall indeed. They are my pride and joy.
And with that, I look at Bots and I say, man, it's so strange. Not one solid clue yet that I can discern. We just kind of keep chasing our own tails here. Who knows, maybe we'll pick up something over there.
Perhaps they are covering something up. But, yeah, let's just go explore first.
And we head to the office.
Okay. Again, very few people on the road. It's a little bit past lunchtime at this point, just from all the walking around. But yeah, I mean, just as she describes, after about like 10 minutes of walking, you find yourself in what looks like a really rather simple storefront. And then yeah, like ropes that seem to be going out and marked what looks like a large section of woods right behind the storefront, as if it's supposed to be some sort of entryway into what will eventually be, well,
memory of a time.
Yeah.
All right.
You do not see any activity inside the place, though. The store appears to be closed.
The office as well.
It's all one building.
Ah. This is most peculiar. What do we got next on our list? Yeah, I went to the case quackers. We got the Godfather, Legal Eagle, maybe. Or Stud Puffin.
Well, I mean, Polly is the victim, so I wouldn't imagine there would be anybody working there, but especially now.
No, but I mean, see if we could get in and take a look at the documents at least.
Ah.
Perhaps we have to go back and wait for that bureaucratic bird.
Maybe we should try to jimmy the door. You know, kill a little time, and then head right over to the cop station.
So you're trying to jimmy the door?
Yeah, same thing. I assume it's locked.
This one you're able to open from the inside.
Oh, look at this, Watson. We'll be quick. We'll be real quick.
So what do you... Okay, now that you're inside, what are you doing? So, okay. The store on the inside is well decorated and has an upscale feel to it. Besides the dazzling photos of Polly hung on the walls, there's evidence of there are evidence of tags around the store. Look like they're like someone actually may have been like looking in here for evidence. But there is like sort of like the storefront itself seems to have like evidence tags like scattered in places. There's a door. There does seem to be like a door that leads to the room in the back behind what looks to be like the counter, like people would actually like buy things.
Well, I'm gonna start rummaging through the place, and I want to see if, if she just had this divorce go through recently. I want to see if there's any documents lying around that speak to that.
Okay, so you're going to the storefront itself, or you're trying to find where so right now you're looking at a storefront as well as like a cashier counter, and then like what looks like a door going to a separate room that's sort of closed off, and then like a separate door that seems to be going behind the building into the woods.
The room.
Okay.
The room that's closed off. Yeah.
So the moment you open the door, it's clear that this is an office, which appears to be untouched. There is a bookshelf, a desk, and a fireplace.
I will help him look.
All right, if you could both roll investigations for me.
With guidance, same as last time.
Yep.
You said investigation?
Yes.
Guidance is a D4, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yep.
All right, so Watson, you see on the desk there is a small calendar with next Tuesday's date circled with tree fell starts, like circled on the date. Jeff has a 15. Okay, and then Jeff, you notice. Among the books on the shelf, you see Flight Club, The Lord of the Wings. But then as you're grunging through the desk, you look over and notice that in the fireplace among the ashes, there is a mostly charred piece of paper that says Pollywood must not be built. If you move forward, you will meet your doom.
Who sees that?
Herlock.
Mm.
I'm going to cast Mage Hand to very delicately pick up the paper by its corner and see if I can pull it up out of the ash, lay it on the table.
Roll a sleight of hand for me.
Do I see him doing this?
You do.
I will cast Mending on it.
Mending's got a long casting time.
1 minute.
Yeah. Can you repair paper with it? I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know if it falls under that category, but I'm going to try.
Link it for me? I'm curious what the words on that say.
And do.
The spell repairs a single break or tear an object you touch, such as a chain link, two house for a broken key, a torn cloak, or as long as the breaker tears long enough for the dimension you mend it. Okay, so like it takes you a minute to cast the spell, but the moment it's like done and you touch it, like the piece of paper seems to be like thick, like the parts that are burned and charred are not burnt anymore. But yeah, you can you're able to successfully get it on the table. But yeah, no, it says it looks like it was a piece of paper that was folded and stuck in an envelope. That just says simply, Pollywood must not be built. If you move forward, you will meet your doom.
Look here, Watson. You do something amok.
Do you have found something here?
Yeah, I think so. Clearly someone didn't want this built, and she knew.
Perhaps he should take this and bring it back to those cracks.
You think so? I don't know. I mean, we kind of incriminate ourselves the moment we do that.
Oh,
Maybe we should keep it just in case they verify us, so then we can bring it out once they know that we are who we say we are.
I like this.
All right, so let's see. Do I have? I guess I have a belt pouch where I can store this thing.
Oh yeah.
Maybe even fold it up in some parchment that I already have.
Oh yeah, no, you can very much easily do that.
Okay. I'm gonna do that, and then is there anything else in this office that kind of sticks out? Any other documents?
No, there's nothing else.
No?
Your investigation does not pull out anything. There doesn't seem to be anything involving the divorces at this point. There is like a sign. There is what looks to be like a document saying like clear cut approved, like town vote with like X number of like votes on one hand, like 4 against kind of thing, with like 4 being saying like voted for clear cut about a week ago now.
Does it say? It doesn't say who voted against.
No, it doesn't have names. No, it's just a tally.
I'll collect that too.
Okay. Oh, and contracts for clear cutting, if that's something you want.
Collect those two.
Okay.
You said there's another door too that leads out to the woods, right?
Yes. And it looks like it's a larger, like double door, like a bigger open entrance, meant for large amounts of traffic.
Is it locked from the inside?
Yes.
I'm gonna unlock it and see what's right outside.
It looks like you're going straight out into the woods. There's like a small little porch space, but it's not, nothing beyond that at this point.
Is there like a little foot trail or anything like that?
Not, there doesn't seem to be a lot of foot traffic behind this, no.
Fair enough. Well, I'll leave it unlocked,
Okay.
but I'll close the doors and then say, Watson, I think it's time we go back to our friends with the rubber stamps.
Yeah, I think so. We keep this quiet for now, and we get our clearance, and then we can have a bit more freedom here.
Exactly.
I still don't know who's going to be paying for us.
We might have to write this one off.
All right, so you make your way back to the Case Quackers.
Yes.
Okay. So you come in the door. Again, very drab-looking place. You're basically greeted with a very similar situation. Like that clerk is looks like he's down looking at something.
We're back.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very good, Captain Falcon. They're back. The door almost like swings open. Gentlemen, I am happy to report that your 2 background checks have been cleared and verified. He's his demeanor's almost completely changed. He's way warmer. He's like, it's fantastic. I appreciate the 2 of you are here. I have to say, I very much am kind of glad that you 2 are going to come in to have a chance to question our 2 suspects, because I'm afraid I've only got about an hour left with each of them. So I'm afraid you've only got about half an hour to each to question our 2 suspects, because according to bird law, I don't have any real evidence to keep them here. So you are more than welcome to have a chance to go about questioning them.
Very well. Where are you keeping them?
Oh, back in the jail cell. Come on and follow me. Do you want to question Winoa or Penguin first?
Penguin.
Very good. And he brings you back. You walk through. I mean, it's basically just like there's 2. It's like solid wall. They're like jail bar cells. It's like a solid wall cell with doors that you walk past, and then there's like a separate room that's sort of what you like. Just imagine like your typical like investigative room with like a table in the middle, and like there's like 1 chair on each side. He grabs a separate chair for you, so that you have two on one side of the table. Sort of leaves you in there and then goes and brings in Penguin, who where's Penguin is has brilliant yellow and orange feathers and paints her talons pink. She has a healer's apron on and looks just very well put together, despite the fact that she's clearly been being held up in this place for a while. Let's see. Decided to link mending again for reasons. Okay.
I do that.
So it's like, so she sits down and Captain Falcon explains like, Miss Stefani, these two gentlemen here have been, were, believe it or not, enlisted by the services of the town to further investigations. They do have they are here under my supervision. No, what's the word I want to look for? Say again?
Full confidence.
Yes, they're here in my full confidence, so please answer the questions to your best ability. I'll leave you two gentlemen to it, and he steps out. Yeah, the fight, she looks put together, but as she sits down and kind of looks at the two of you and eyes you, especially just kind of just eyes you, but like after a moment tears just start rolling down her face. Yeah.
Oh, there. Tell us what you know. Tell us.
I hand her a handkerchief.
And
she takes it, sort of dabs her eyes, like I don't know why anybody thinks I would do such a thing. I loved Polly. Oh, I know the.
If you love Polly, then you must have known who didn't love her.
Let's see. Hold on, give me 1 second. Whoever. Oh, let me think. Oh. Hold on, let me backtrack a second. Jeff, you just pocketed the contracts, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. So yeah, she's saying, yeah, dabbing her eyes. Who would not want the park? I mean, I'm sure there were people that were against having a large amount of trees cut down, but I can't imagine why anybody would want to kill her over the trees. I don't understand.
With that, I'm gonna look at Watson and kind of give him the old like, and then have him take over. That's kind of mitigating. Well, no, he would know the 1-2 routine. When we interrogate someone, I get him to take over the conversation, kind of distract their attention, and then I can circle around and detect thoughts so they don't see me.
Got it. Okay. Yep.
Yes. No, as far as these plans go, tell us what do you know? I mean, we've already voted to have these trees down, but who do you know has been such a?
I start putting the documents in front of her.
Which ones?
All of them.
Oh. Sorry, what were you saying, Watson?
I was saying, who have been the loudest proponents of not cutting them down? Oh, against Polyworld.
Oh. The lot. So. As you like, so you lay out the contracts, and she goes, "Well, as you probably know," and she kind of like points at different points of the contract. She's like, "You can see here that Mayor Duckbill Gates and myself were both very financially invested into the actual into the park itself, and that was something I know that Mayor Winnow Flighter was against campaigned against having the park created, but I never imagined her being someone who would be willing to kill for that sort of respect. It just doesn't seem like her. There were several other members of the township that were just against the idea of cutting down a bunch of trees, but beyond that, I'm afraid I don't
Who are
know.
these?
Hmm?
Who are these people
I
specifically?
I couldn't give you specific names. I suppose there was one fella. Hold on a second. What was his name? Oh, I had a the only name I can give you, and it's only just because I just happened to know him, was a gentleman by the name of Steven Seagal. He worked in my office for a little while, or he worked at the Beakers and More for a time, and I know he was very very concerned for the woods and their well-being. So I know he was sort of a vocal um, person, but a very gentle soul. And like I said, he's the only reason I can give you his name is because I I hired him for about 2 weeks, but I was having him work the night shift, and that didn't seem to work for him. So he went. I can't remember I don't know where he got work afterward, but I know he has to support Jason Segel, so I'm sure he found work somewhere. Um, but beyond that, outside of the mayor herself and just some of the other town constituents, I couldn't give you any specific names. And I know the mayor was upset about the outcome of the town vote, but she was pretty adamant about respecting it. Let's see.
This.
Oh, yep. Okay.
I'll look at Watson, and then I'm going to say, hang on here. If you had any love in your heart for the dearly deceased, then don't worry about what's coming next. I got a little trick that I learned at the Arcana Academy, you see, and it helps me to eliminate you from a list of suspects, which I'm sure you'd want to clear your name. So just hang on real quick. Just know that it's me and that I mean you no harm.
Right. Okay. So, are you going in deep, or are you just doing surface right now?
Surface then deep, always.
Okay. So, the surface thoughts are really just like straight up grief for like the death of both Polly, and sort of a sadness, but not like a giant grief for the death of Duckbill Gates. Um, that's sort of like the dominating surface thought, is just genuine grief for their loss.
All right. And what about deeper?
Let's see. As an action, shift. If you probe deeper, the target. Let's see. If it succeeds the spell, either way, the target knows. Wait, what happens if you deeper?
You can use its action to make an int check.
I mean, it's right. Hold on.
I am recovering from a head cold, so once again, I'm getting up just to go grab a Mucinex.
Oh, you're fine. Okay,
I think
so
I'm
just
starting
all
on.
right. So the deeper thoughts are pretty much everything she's already said. Like, there's nothing. You're not getting any new information from her thoughts. From what you can tell, she's being completely honest and open. The one sort of new thought is that she, Polly the thought that she has in her head that she hasn't set out, that she hasn't mentioned yet, is this idea that like I mean, she mentioned she had an investment in the park, but it doesn't matter at this point because Polly had drop dead clauses in her contract, such that if she were to actually drop dead, the deal would be off. And so, like, now that she's dead, the park is no longer like all those contracts that she had that are like laid out in front of you are null and void.
Mm-hmm.
So
who could have known this thing?
known what thing? Hold on. This is all stuff that Jeff's getting, by the way, with the spell.
Oh, right, this is tech thoughts, right.
Yeah. Do you two have any other leads as to who could have possibly done this?
We will work our magic. Don't you worry. We will get to the bottom of this. Look for Jeff.
Very good. I don't know if he actually. I'm assuming he heard that. I don't know if he did.
I don't know. He has headphones on, right?
Most of it. Basically, what you're saying is she's consistent from surface to deep thoughts that she has a lot of grief and there's no there's no real funny business going on.
Well, she knows that with her death, the Dolly or Pollywood goes away. Like all the contracts that she made, basically are null and void now that she's dead. So, like, Pollywood, just because now that Polly Parton is dead, like the Pollywood contracts are all null and void.
There's someone that benefits from this here. Someone that benefits from seeing her gone. And I don't know. I got a wild hunch here that some of this points to the mayor at large.
If you have the other thing she'll say, and you sort of catch this thought at the same time. I mean, if you have questions about well, no, actually, I take that back. You already know about the legal. She was just going to give you that point, but you already know that exists. Never mind. Yeah. So at this point, I don't know. Do you have any other pressing questions?
No. I feel like we can remove her from our list of suspects, and then I'll kind of quietly confer with Watson and share. Oh yeah, this one pretty consistent.
Who do you think would benefit the most from not having this? No, better question. Who would know about the drop dead clause?
I don't know. Maybe we should go talk to Steven Seagal. His name seems to keep coming up around this.
So, at this point, Captain Falcon walks in saying, like, all right, your half hour's up. Swaps out, Penguin leaves. Winnow Flighter, who has intricately colored feathers with blue, purple, and pink hues, wears a long golden necklace, and her eyes are friendly and wide. She's clearly trying to keep a smile on her face. Captain Falcon gives the same sort of spiel about the two of you are like working with the quackers. And she sits down and goes, anything we can do to just get us beyond this mess, please. I just want this town to be able to move on.
See Miss Flighter.
She does.
How's the day finding you so far?
How's the day?
Yes.
One of my closest compatriots was found dead. I am a suspect, which I acknowledge was because I'm sure is because people saw very publicly heated arguments between he and I over a few rounds at the Crow's Nest. And folks knew that I didn't like the idea of just the deforestation for a tourist attraction. But I assure you, I meant no ill will toward neither Miss Parton, blessed woman that she was, or my good compatriot and friend, Mr. Gates. We argued over that theme park a lot, but I wouldn't want to kill either one of them over it for sure.
Of course, you know, clearly someone else had other thoughts. And with that, this time I'll just reveal the half-burnt letter.
What
can you tell us about this?
I don't know. I mean, I knew there were plenty of other members of the town that were against the building of the park, but this is... Where did you find this?
I found it in the fireplace of where Miss Polly had her offices.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Oh. There may have been one piece of information that I haven't told you to yet that Captain Falcon would have shared with you. I don't know if that affects your questioning or not. Both bodies were found in their places of work with no forced entry and no... hold on, let me make sure I didn't mess up. Let's see. Both victims were found in their place of work with no signs of forced entry and nothing stolen from them. So he basically is arguing that it isn't a mugging turned murder. They were suspecting a murder spree with Duckbill's death. Oh, and if you so desire, for the purposes... oh, wait. Okay, no, I'm not going to... no, I'll give that up. So and the other thing that the Captain Falcon mentions is that they have a key to Penguin's store. Because they were, they wanted to make sure it was secure since she's one of the suspects. So I don't know if you want to go back. I don't know if there's any other questions you wanted to ask Ms. Penguin with that information or not.
Watson. Watson. It just dawned on me that we totally overlooked this. Yeah. They were both found in their places of work.
Well, you would have found this out right before the interviews. This is new information.
Do you think it's possible that there's a group in this town where it would make sense to approach the victims from their place of work while drawing no suspicion from anyone, but might have a vested interest in seeing this whole operation fail? Yeah, maybe something like the Legal Eagle. Think about it. A bunch of attorneys going from one office to the next and cover up some dirt. No one's going to suspect them if they see him milling about in the middle of the day. That's because they are lawyers. Yeah, a bunch of bloodsuckers, aren't they? Sure. Let us go maybe have a conversation. And both Hollywood, with needing to navigate the local politics and economy, might need some legal advice, as would the recently departed deputy mayor.
Okay, where are you having this conversation?
Let's say in between the
okay. That's fine.
Yeah, in between the suspects, because how about this? We say after the first suspect, we remember that we were told that.
Well, I guess I mean, I should have told you that, and I just forgot. Is there anything else knowing that you would have wanted to ask Miss Penguin Stefani?
What I would have really wanted was that key, but that's not something she could have given me then.
No.
No, we'll just move on.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for Miss Winnow Flighter?
Yeah, where can we find Steven Seagal?
The um, his house. I think he actually hangs out at the. Well, I don't know. Most of the places are closed at the moment, right? So I would imagine either he's home or if he's. I believe he works. Where did he find work? He works at the Lock and Turkeys. Where? What? Hold on. There it is. Which is the local locksmith in town. I believe after he stopped working for Miss Stefani, that's where he found work.
Watson. And then I position myself in such a way that I'm standing between the suspect and Watson, and I use minor illusion to create the image of a key, and then kind of keep recasting it to create this little animated sequence of like a master key going into a lock, so that it is opened and looks like there's no forced entry.
Are you doing this in front of her? Or you're doing just so that Watson sees?
I'm standing in front of her and casting it like right here in front of myself in a way. Or I could even do it standing behind her too. But basically, I don't want her to see that. But I want Watson to pick up on that's a clue right there.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Got it. All right. I don't know if Watson picks up on that or not, but I understand I see what you're doing now. Okay. All right.
Yeah, just making the little key to.
Not picking up what you're doing.
Well, you've been very helpful, and I hope we can get to the bottom of this. And before I let her go, or as she's getting up, then I'll cast Detect Thoughts on her.
The service thought you're getting is just wanting relief for the town. Like that's sort of the very surface thought you get. Just wants this to be over.
And the deep thought?
Nothing additional than she hasn't already said. Just wishing like no ill will to the dearly departed. Disappointed, like not even like happy that Pollywood's not going to happen now. Just sad that all of this happened in the first place. Let me see if there's anything else. No. Duckbill was the park's. She knows that Duckbill was the park's biggest supporter, and eventually won when the city voted to approve its plans. So basically, like you get a sense that like she campaigned against the park, and her counterpart Duckbill Gates campaigned for the park, and he won the vote essentially. I think that's the only piece of information you don't already have. But yeah, no, she does not wish any ill will toward Duckbill or Polly.
She
Any
doesn't
other
realize
questions?
that she doesn't realize if she has no ill will against them. Oh, never mind. I wouldn't know that. Okay. No, then I say to Watson, I think it's time we go pay Mr. Seagull a visit.
I agree. Gotta be onward then.
Okay. At this point, Captain Falcon leads you out of the office. He says the two of he basically is leading you out, and he brings you out to the front of like, all right, well, did you find anything helpful or useful or anything that would lead me to want to keep them in here any longer?
No, I don't think we're looking at these two anymore.
Oh.
If it's
Really?
clear,
I find that I find that hard to believe as he brings you out into the front office with the clerk. And as this happens, the front door to the place opens, and a Arakokra with brilliant pink, yellow, and blue feathers, wearing their hair in various different braids, with rings scattered among their fingers, just kind of walking like, just kind of bursts into the room. Captain Falcon looks at him and goes, "What do you want?
Very good.
What do
Very
you
good.
want, Captain Jack Sparrow?"
Mate.
"There's been another murder."
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, what?
Another one?
Charlie Kiwi, the lawyer, representing, which one was he? I get these two mixed up. The lawyer that was representing Polly during the divorce is dead, which makes me lead to believe that it was in fact Miss Stefani. Or maybe Stefani was working with someone else since she's back there. The two of them did go through a very public divorce, you see. My intent.
Of course.
Right. Captain Falcon, like, yes, where? Tell me, where's the scene of the crime? It's like, the office of the Falcon. The legal eagle, I meant to say. And he just starts flinting off down the road.
This is getting interesting. Things are heating up.
As we go from here.
So Captain Falcon at this point, it's like, all right, Johnson, hold down the fort, and let the other two suspects go. At this point, I can't. I have no. Well, wait, no. There's another murder. I can keep them. Hold that thought. And he goes chasing. And Captain Falcon goes chasing off down the road after Captain Jack Sparrow.
We can either follow them or we can follow our own path. What do you think?
How did you see where this one is going? Then we can take our own path after we find out what is going on here.
All right, so we'll follow after the two of them.
Okay.
Also, fair warning. I think I probably got another 10 minutes or so, and then I gotta call it night.
Oh no. Okay. In that case, because I don't think we're gonna get this. We're not gonna get all the way through this in the next 10 minutes. This is probably.
Yeah, sorry. I just got a text that I was not expecting. So.
Okay. No, this would be a good. If we're gonna pause, this would be a good stopping point then. I know where we are. I'm sure there's a point in the future where the three of us can meet again. It's sort of a cycle kind of thing. So.
Sure.
Sorry.
I've got notes here for Steven Seagal and Charlie Kiwi.
There you go. Our recently murdered Charlie Kiwi. So with that, we're going to have to do a part deux, although I already called this version part two because this is Mike's Magical Mystery Murder Mystery. There was another M in there for alliteration. Moving on. With that, good night, Internet. I hate to leave it on a cliffhanger, but here we are. We'll have to solve this mystery another night. And with that, we're going to kill El Streamo, because, yeah, words. All right. Yeah. Good night.